So I will start by presenting a little bit the speakers of today. So I will start with Maricela. Maricela represents the bank in this discussion. So as BRD Societe Generale is a universal bank, Maricela will be able to provide us with overall a holistic image over the relationship of the bank with the merchant. So the relationship from multiple perspectives. Then we have to my left Sašo. Sašo is coming from Slovenia and he's representing Bankart. Bankart represents the backbone of infrastructure in acquiring processing. So he is here to present the more technical perspective of the discussion. On the other side, on the left of Maricela is Utku. Utku represents Transfond Ropei. However, in the discussion that we are having today, Utku represents the new rails, new kids on the block. And to the left or to your right, actually, is Valentin. He is the most specialized in the relationship with direct relationship with the merchants. Valentin has a huge experience on the Romanian market and not only, and we are grateful that he can share with us his experience. So I will start with defining the problem that the problem that we are discussing today. Payment orchestration. What is payment orchestration good for? When it's used? So let's touch upon all the perspectives: technical perspective, the merchant perspective, and the economics of the business. So, please, Maricela, if you could start.
So the topic is complex, yet in my view, it's very simple because we need to have two questions in mind. One is, and I'm not original, I copy somebody, but it was a question that stayed with me for the last few months. Who's running a bank at 2:15 a.m. in the night? Yeah. If few years ago we, when we did a payment or we needed some money, we had no choice but to go to the bank, to go to the counters, which closed at 5, and after 5, either you have money or you don't. Now the bank is running without us, without people, during the night. All the reconciliation, all the orchestration is done outside the working hours, and we don't perceive it. We just know that we have access to our money, mostly instant nowadays, because this is the new standard, without other interference, at least visible interference. So this is one point. The second point, which I think we should ask ourselves more often, is who's the client? Who's the client? Between for the fintechs, maybe banks are the clients, right? But at the end of the day, is the ultimate client. It's us, or it's individuals, it's legal entities, which are the final clients. And everything that we launch or we get ready for should be adjusted according to the language the client is speaking. Because we can launch application gigs for gigs, but nobody will understand it and very few will use it. And this is the second challenge. I think it's food for thought for us today.
Thank you, Maricela.
Thank you very much, Ionuț, for the introduction. And I would like to give a flavor related to payment orchestration from the merchant perspective and the PSP. What I can see is the fact that actually merchants are not looking for payment orchestration. They are looking to have very good conversion rate, to decrease failed transaction, and to grow without complexity. But actually it means payment orchestration. because as soon as you are receiving a transaction, you need to put it to the direct and the most relevant payment method that will succeed in a successful transaction. Payment orchestration is based on the technology, basically, but convenience of the payment orchestration is the one that grows the transaction for the merchant. And actually, this is the main reason of payment orchestration: grows the transaction and the merchant successful transactions.
Thank you. So we are practically starting from the front end towards the back end of the transaction. Utku, what can you share with us?
Well, first of all, thanks for the new kids on the block. So still at this age, I like to be hearing that kid.
It was a compliment.
It was a great compliment, actually. So, thanks for that. Secondly, I mean, from my point of view, the question in itself has the answer. An orchestra is good as long as it works in a harmony. And that means that every part of the orchestra has to work together. I mean, it starts from even from the regulator, and then from the schemes, and then it goes to technology part, which, like we are talking about, it becomes one of the most important layers there because it changes in a very fast phase, and then everybody has to adapt it all over, and then goes to operations, pricing, merchants, and at the end of the day, even the client who is actually using the product. Because at the end of the day, we also, I think, have the necessity to educate the client to know that what he's doing, why he's doing that, why is he picking the method that with what he's paying with.
Thank you very much for introduction. It's saying in my role, this panel from the, let's say, acquiring side, covering the infrastructure, OneChat as a processor, I would say it definitely starts with the technology. So the infrastructure, the backbone, something to build on that then let's say, that is then justified by the economics and makes it less frictionless for the end merchants. So it's modular infrastructure and technology that enables this and focuses on the end experience of the merchant.
Super, thank you. So the theme of the discussion is about how banks can win merchant acceptance more. What do merchants want? So merchants want, of course, to sell more. They want less abandon in the transaction process, simpler checkout. However, when we are talking about payment orchestration, having multiple payment rails, the question is who should choose. And when we are discussing about choosing the rails for the respective payment, then should we look from the resilience perspective and choose from the technical perspective? Should we choose from the economical perspective? How do we make more money as infrastructure, or should we choose from the customer perspective? Maricela, I mean, if you want to switch the order, please step in.
Yeah, don't worry. We will complement each other. So as a bank, we will first choose the regulatory perspective. And then, of course, is the resilience, then it's the client experience. Actually, it's not a then, it's an and. We choose regulatory and resilience and client experience and technological maturity.
So it's a decision tree.
It's let's say branches, multiple branches.
I would say that the ecosystem in general is what this is. So from my standpoint of view, the infrastructure has to be resilient, yes, flexible, and that at the end comes in the end the whole decision, how this works.
I mean, from my point, a payment is three parts. One, where we are all of us basically, the PSPs, banks, schemes, processing centers, is a huge part. But at the end of the day, the part in the middle who is the merchant, and then the client. The client, in this 27th year that I've been doing this payment business, the client is actually, they don't know too much. Which card to pay, which payment method is the merchant usually who decides most of the time. And so, because the main point is that all these three pillars the more important part is that merchant has to close and sell. I mean, that's the part. So that's why I'm saying that the merchant is the one who is actually the most important in this whole circle.
I have a little bit different opinion here because 10 years ago, technology was an answer. Right now, technology is something that everybody expected. You do not have problems right now with technology. You have on-premise, you have cloud that it's already very, very used. The main idea is to have the client happy and finalizing the transaction. In order to do that, there are 4 pillars that must be accommodated somehow because the merchant wants good commercial rate. The bank wants resilience and security for sure. A PSP wants to optimize the transaction and multiple routing options. And the client wants speed and convenience. I believe currently technology is on place. Data helps you to choose. Collaboration between all the pillars is secret to scale. And customer experience is the one that is winning.
Super, thank you. So you are the last to answer the question. I will continue with you, Valentin. From your very broad experience on the Romanian market, discussing all the time with merchants, having continuous interactions, following their problems, and probably being very close to the final customer, because this is how merchants will bring the feedback from you, from having the direct interaction with the final customer. What do you think that should be added in the Romanian, let's say, offering or technological platforms towards the customer in the checkout process?
I wouldn't say in the strict checkout process, but I would say something related to the market itself. Because in the last decade, Romania has evolved a lot from the payment digitization. We have a very modern acquiring platform. We have strong card adoption. Wallets are implemented already. New payment schemes, new kids are in the background already. What we need, I think, is simplicity. The future is for less complexity. We did a very good job digitizing payments. Next step should be make them invisible.
Super. I will continue with you, Utku. So RoPay introduces a new rail of process in the of payment in the checkout process. How is what is the value added that is brought for the merchant in the checkout process? Is it new sales for the merchant, or is it switching from one rail to the other?
Yeah, I mean, thank you for the question. I believe it's a very correct question, especially RoPay being the new kid on the block, as you mentioned. What I see is the fact that RoPay is not here to steal market share from other schemes. I mean, what I believe is that RoPay's main role is to grow the market. And from what I've seen with the clients that we have, the merchants that we have, and the transactions that we receive, at the moment we are helping the market grow instead of taking percentage from other merchants. And of course, I mean, one of the biggest advantages of RoPay is being instant. And you know, when you make a payment with RoPay, it's basically the money enters into merchant's account instantly. So this is one of the biggest advantages for the merchant. But also, especially on the e-commerce part, what I see is that we are converting at the moment a lot from the cash to instant payment instead of eating percentage from the card schemes.
Thank you. So I will continue with Sasho, if you don't mind. I will jump places. So then come back to you, Maricela. So you are the backbone of the process. From your perspective, resilience is the most important. What does resilience mean in terms of acquiring processing?
Backbone needs to be invisible, but it's not just invisible. It's being resilient. In this case, or maybe in any other case as well, it means the option for the end customer to have this simplified complexity that the backbone needs to handle, so that it can scale safely. So scaling is directly connected to resilience. If there's no resilience, it's hard to scale. It gets more friction, and at the end, the customer, the user experience cannot build on that. So it's less acceptance if the resilience is bad, because if you have downtime, you don't have as much attempts, as much attendance, and successful transactions.
Sasho, I will just build upon what you said and come up with an additional question. Are you afraid of Black Friday, or you accept this as a challenge to break it?
No, I like Black Friday very much because it scales on the economic side very well. We've never been down on Black Friday. Yes, the numbers go up, but that's the resilience part, and that's exactly what I'm saying. The simplicity, the infrastructure, the technology enables the simplicity for the merchants and the end clients, customers of the banks, and in the middle orchestration don't need to care about that. So it's a simple process from them. They have the customer, they get the money, doesn't matter the rails, instant cards or whatever it is, the infrastructure handles that, and the resilient part is important. And right in Banca, I like to say we have a 100% resilient rates for the last 15 years. So a Black Friday is a success for us, and all the other, and the whole of December, if I may add. So spend is good.
So merchants and PSPs and banks are relaxed in Slovenia. They are embracing with happiness.
Yeah, and so do we. So yeah, exactly. I think our CEO just the last Black Friday, November 25, mentioned how much the scaling regarding how the numbers went up, and how very satisfied we are that there weren't any downtime at that, so we can scale it.
Thank you, Sasha. So Maricela, you have the view of the universal bank. As I mentioned earlier, practically you are looking at, you have a holistic view. You are looking at all the friction points that the bank has with the merchant and the final customer, because you are also a very strong retail bank in Societe Generale. So what is your opinion about improving the friction points, or what are the friction points that you are tackling?
So, first of all, you're absolutely right. I have two hats today. One is the retail hat and one is the corporate hat. On the retail side, I would say that while it's normal for us to concentrate on the clients we have, what about the clients we don't have? And I will give you, we don't have on the payments landscape, I mean, not the clients of the bank. And I give you two examples. One is a friend of mine, which is a white collar, highly educated. I failed to convince her to pay by card. She's always with cash with her, and she almost everything pays by cash yet. So she is in the age gap, the right age gap, the right education, still she's using the cash. And the second is my mother. My mother take the pension on the card because it was pushed, but the very same day she's going to the first ATM, she's cashing in, and she stays with the cash in the purse. So the question is, what are we going to do with the clients we don't have? And I think here it's part of this orchestration, part of the collaboration between banks, fintechs, the experience that we offer, and the messages that we send about the security, the resilience, the convenience for using the digital payments. So this is on the retail side. On the corporate side, we see on the large corporate, let's say, or large SME, that our clients are sophisticated. Sometimes, not sometimes, quite sometimes, we also learn from them, because they are also coming with the experience from their parent companies. We also have the experience from our parent company, from the Societe Generale group. And the payments means and the reconciliation and the transparency it's more and more on focus for them, and of course as a result for us. And I mean to see instantly if a payment is processed, to have dashboards always, to be able to build cash flows, to be able to have all type of reports and instant reconciliation. It's a challenge for the bank, challenge that we accepted, sometimes being pushed by our clients. So this is the high end of the legal entities. But again, I come with the same question: what are we going to do for the smaller SMEs, where they don't afford to pay, I don't know, even a decent price because it will eat their very low margin? What type of products can we offer to smaller SME in order to onboard them earlier in the game, to help them grow their business? And as you say, for them should be invisible. They should have an app and do everything in it without being concerned or having an internal IT department in order to see what's behind an application. So this is a challenge that I don't think we solved yet, but we are on the way to.
Thank you. So before going to the closing questions, as we still have almost 10 minutes, I think 8 minutes already, all of you have international experience, so all of you know what is the customer behavior, merchant behavior, acquirer behavior, and bank setup in different countries. Could you very briefly mention a little bit about what are the differences between countries? Because here at UNCHAIN we have practically important presence from all over Central and Eastern Europe, not only all over Europe. However, the audience would be most probably interested in the differences that you have seen so far between customer behavior or merchant behavior between the countries in CE.
Well, I mean, if you allow me to start here, from what I've seen, we are a Balkanic nation, and in Balkanic nations, actually, what I've seen different from the more Western ones is maybe our banking system and products are much more complex and much more different. And West, it's usually more plain vanilla products. And the clients are usually sticking with one product, and it's very difficult to change it. In Balkanic countries, the competition is much higher. The margins, especially on payments, are much lower. I mean, I know the margins that, for example, a bank in payments makes in Germany, or bank or other organizations in Romania or other Balkanic companies are making. I mean, it's a huge difference between them. I mean, starting from processing fees to the merchant fees to card perso fees, all of these. But on the other hand, like what I said, in Romania and in other Balkan companies, also clients can change the provider very quickly. So it's not that much of a loyalty. So if you give a different product and it sees that, okay, it fits to my needs much more, I can change it. So I totally agree with also Marcella that, I mean, we have to see what are the guys that are not client wants, because we already know what the clients are needing.
So bringing more clients into the mix.
Yeah, and from my perspective also I agree with Zutku because I have this experience, basically he does it already, and currently is more often the situation when the customer itself wants more sophisticated services, and as Zutku identified very well, if you are not able to provide it quickly, they are very easy moving to another provider which is maybe ready to provide it or a little bit cheaper, which is not the situation like in Germany where we have this experience in the past with Wirecard, let's say, and when plain vanilla product, it was take it or leave it, and they were taking it, and that's all. In our region, it's totally different, and the pressure is much more bigger on the providers itself from the merchants.
More innovation.
You can say it like this, yeah.
Could you add something more, Maricela or Sasho?
I would just add that yes, the trust level is important. So if the trust, there's modularity speaking from the architecture, technology, let's say backbone provider, you have to have the trust and the modularity. the invisible backbone enables the visible backbone to offer this.
So what is common? What is common between all the countries is that the backbone of the transaction is to provide trust. So if I enter the process, I have to know that I will be easily able to finish it.
And for me, as looking forward, like a dream. Since I talk about segmentation, let's talk about the most sophisticated clients. I read some time ago about the evolution of payments in Asia, especially. So for these high-end clients, let's bring the payments to them, not only through acquiring, but for example, they are watching a movie and they can choose in the movie the clothing of the main actress and buy it on the spot. Or they are in the car and they use the system of the car to buy, I don't know, the insurance or to buy the license or whatever.
Thank you, Maricela. And now for the closing question, I would ask each of you, let's say we have a brainstorming, like a panel with a brainstorming ideal situation. If you could improve something from the current status of the technological setup of the market behavior, what would be that? So let me to understand that everything is perfect, no more improvement.
Let me start. So we have so many challenges that we don't want any more improvements. Let's take one challenge at a time.
I mean, this is part of what I said also before. I mean, like I'm agreeing, in Romania to do this business is very challenging from all points of view. But on the other hand, that's what it makes it fun. I mean, I'm sure if you were doing the same business in another country, in another big bank in West, and it would have been a very boring job. So it's difficult, but it's fun at the same time.
Thank you.
I think so. And it takes all the time to do this.
So it keeps you busy.
Very happy.
Sasha, any improvements? I mean, can you do better than 100% availability?
As I said before, spend. We can handle it. Let's try to break the system. I think it's we have still a lot of let's say leverage there. But the challenge would be there are a lot of compliance, regulation, and so on, and these are maybe the challenges, because it's a challenge to simplify these complexities so that the end customer and the clients don't feel that. They can choose whatever channel they want to pay, and they pay with that. They don't need to worry about compliance. They don't need to worry about resilience if the payment goes through. So that is the challenge, and we're looking forward to it in the future.
Thank you, guys. Great discussion. Thank you for the discussion. I think you agree with me. We solved all the problems in processing and dealing with merchants and dealing with final customers. So we are good to go. The only problem that remains is and will remain is on what will final customers spend their money on. So thank you all for the discussion, and thank you to the audience.